In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can escape the matrix and become your own boss and achieve financial freedom, at least over time. Okay, so my name is Ian. For those of you who do not know me, welcome to the Freedom Income Discord group or Freedom Income YouTube channel. I trade and invest for a living. So I'm a trader, investor, entrepreneur, and I trade the financial markets and invest in real estate and businesses for a living at the moment. And, I think the way that you want to break free from society norm is not to follow everybody else. If you follow what most people are doing, especially in terms of money, you're going to be poor, if I'm being honest. Again, I'm just being absolutely honest. I'm not saying anything to offend anybody. It's just simple truth. If you, just like trading, if you're trading the markets and you follow most traders, you are going to lose money. You're better off doing the complete opposite to most traders. You're more likely to make money. Even if you don't know what you're doing, if you just go against the herd, you're probably more likely to be successful than following them. Anyhow, now onto the solution, onto the proper platforms and scenarios whereby you can free yourself, right? Let's say, to be honest, if you're in a job that you absolutely love and you make a sufficient amount of income or money, you're pretty successful anyway. I think, if you're genuinely happy and you genuinely love what you do, I think you're pretty successful. It isn't just about the money. I mean, for me, I'd rather make 80k a year and do something I completely love that gives me time and location freedom than to make even $500,000 a year doing something I hate for somebody else, working in a job that I hate, right? That, I think that, it's not just about the money. It's also about the freedom, the time, and what you're doing. Are you passionate, or does it make you stress, and do you hate it? I just think that's very, very important. And anyway, so in my case, what I wanted to share with you guys is trading and investing. Okay, so one of the things I do is investing. Those of you who have been following me would know that I invest in real estate properties. I don't do that crazy amount, but typically I invest in one or two or three, anything between 1 to 3 real estate pieces on an annual basis, and that's been the case for the last 3 to 4 years. And I do pretty well with that. At this moment in time, though, it's not making sense in the UK. I'm actually at this moment in time, as I've been trading more and more, especially I've been profitable consistently over the last nearly 1 year now in trading, not just in long-term investing. I've been profitable in long-term investing, but in terms of even trading, I've been profitable on a monthly basis every single month for the last nearly 1 year, about 10 months now. And that is from selling put options. And the more that I've been profitable, the more that I experience in this, the more that I actually want to do more of that rather than real estate at this moment in time. It wasn't like this before. I was very much into real estate before, but there's a reason why I love this trading at this moment in time. Okay, first of all, at this moment in time, if you're in the UK, you would know. If you're a property investor, you would know. I mean, if you're a big property investor, then it's okay because you can buy a block of flats and then turn it into, but buy like a church or buy a building and turn it into a block of flats, or do a commercial conversion, and you can get quite a decent amount of income because you got numbers, right? But if you're just buying 1, 2, or 3 bedroom sort of buy-to-lets, the income isn't that great from properties. It's more of a long-term gain thing, and at this moment in time, you're paying, your taxes are high, your rental income isn't making sense, it's not high enough, it's not increasing with at the same rate as how the costs are increasing, and your interest rates are super high at the moment. We're talking more than double they were 2 years ago, and also the fact that the property prices haven't dropped. They're actually as high as ever. I'm noticing really high property prices, really high tax rates, and really high interest rate, but low rental income. So when you combine that together, it isn't making sense to me to invest into properties at this moment in time. It did 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even last year. I mean, I invested in 2 or 3 years or 4 years ago. It made sense because we're talking about 1 or 2% interest rate, and the prices were fairly stable, fairly good, and the tax, right? The ADS, which is like if you own more than just your own residential house, you pay a certain percentage of tax. Back then, the ADS was 2 or 3%. At the moment, it's 6%. So we're talking about double the tax, more than double the interest rate, and with rental income not increasing anywhere near that pace. So in my opinion, properties at this moment in time does not make sense. It's a waste of money. You'd be tying up 50k just to make a couple of £100 net profit a month. So from that perspective, not worth it. In the long term, is always worth it, because I do believe in the long term, regardless of temporary volatilities, I believe that in the long term, properties will go up in value. Now, So why do I love trading at this moment in time? Okay, so if you come over to my Discord group, I'll include the link, by the way. I give alerts, which is completely free, and I even teach you how I do it. Okay, so basically, since I started this, right, I actually started trading the strategy 3 to 4 months before my provided alerts, and so for the last about 9 or 10 months, I would say I've taken about 30 to 35 trades in total, and I've actually won 100% of the time, 100% win rate. Now, for those of you who are like, this is bullshit, right, just hear me out, okay? I know that you cannot achieve 100% in Forex trading. You cannot achieve that in crypto trading. You cannot achieve that with stock trading. You cannot achieve that in sports betting, right? It's impossible. However, when you sell put options, right, a lot of traders don't tend to sell put options. They don't even kind of understand it. They can't get their head around it, right? Most traders do not trade put options, which is why most traders lose, right? If you sell put options, the win rate can literally be 95% or higher in the long term, right? Because with put options, what happens is that, for example, a stock like this is the most recent one to take, right? If you take a strike price of just below the support here at 26, right, and usually what you're doing is you're selling options about 2 to 3 weeks in advance, right? That's typically what I do, right? So within 2 weeks' time, as long as this stock finishes above $26, even if it's a penny, a cent, 1 cent above it, you have made a profit. You've won your trade, right? Because when you sell put options, you collect premium as soon as you sell it, right? So as long as within that period of time, by expiration date, this stock price remains above the strike price we select, which in this case would be about 27. If I actually selected 27, which is a bit risky, but in my group I said this is going to be risky, so 26 is safer, okay, but I selected 27. But anyway, as long as this closes above 27, we pretty much won the trade. Even if it drops below it, you sell the stock at a break even and you lose a bit of the premium, so what? You're going to win way more than you lose with this strategy, because this is predictable, okay? Even with a stock like Apple, right? What happens typically when you invest in stocks, right? What happens is that sometimes if let's say you're investing here, which is not a good idea in my opinion because it's so pumped, right? So because just like back here, if you invested here, you have to wait how long? Let's say you invested here, which is typically what most traders do, believe it or not. They tend to get in when it's over pumped, which is when you want to be selling. You want to be selling at the beginning of the pump. You want to be buying during the beginning of the pump, not at the end of it or near the end of it. So let's say this is August, right? So by the time you're in, right, even now, which is May this year, you're only breaking even, right? So you have to hold for nearly a year just to be breaking even, and you have to hold through all this red. But if you have a stop loss, I suppose you would have made a loss, right? So it's quite unpredictable, right, what's going to happen in that scenario. However, when the stock has just fallen like this and it's at the beginning of the rise, let's say we went for a put option here at a strike price of 133, or even safer here, 128, as long as the premium's worth it, as long as this stock finishes within 2 or 3 weeks' time, usually is what I go for, above that strike price that we choose, you have won that trade, right? That changes the scenario completely. That is highly predictable. If you are good with the markets, if you've been trading the markets for years, you understand price movements, you understand how to research on a stock, this becomes predictable, right? It's hard to predict something which way is going to go in the short term, in my opinion, but this is predictable because you make money on the way up. If the stock goes up, you make money, we make money if the stock stays the same, and you even make money if the stocks drop some. It's only if it crashes do you make a smallish loss, arguably, right? So that's why the win rate is super high. So if you want, come over, join the Freedom Income Discord group, and I share all these alerts for free anyway with you guys, and if I'm being honest, although if you see my channel, you're new to my channel, you might be thinking, hey, this guy's only got like 1,500 followers, subscribers, and he's only getting like a couple of hundred views on average per video. If I'm being honest with you, these are the kind of YouTubers you want to be following. You don't want to be following the YouTuber that's got millions of subscribers, especially when it comes to trading. You do not want to be following the YouTubers that's got millions of subscribers, millions of views, because if you do the math, only 5% or less of all traders are profitable, right? The other 95% plus are losing traders, right? If millions of people are trading with a strategy that's shared by some popular clickbait YouTuber, how can you make money out of it? Just think about, just be intelligent about this and think about that. Okay, so you don't want to be following strategies taught by these kind of YouTubers. You want to be because they are there to make pretty much clickbait. If they're trading if you're trading with a strategy which millions of people know, it's impossible to make money out of it. Okay, so you want to be following YouTubers perhaps with a little bit less, if you like, oomph. So based on that, why do I love trading more than I do at this moment in time with real estate? I've just told you all the disadvantages of real estate, but with trading, what are the advantages I'm finding is that with this put selling strategy that I'm doing, right, put option selling, the win rate is super high, literally like 100% for me so far. But even in the long run, I reckon I can definitely do it at 95% minimum, 95% or plus win rate. Okay, at that kind of win rate, making like the if you like, the drawback of this strategy is that you cannot make crazy amounts of ROI. You cannot make ROI like you do with cryptos during a pumping halving year, right? Hundreds of percents, even thousands of percent. You can't do that, okay? However, if you don't know what you're doing with cryptos, you can lose like 50 to 75% if you don't know what you're doing, if I'm being honest, right? And there's a time for cryptos. I mean, if you follow this Discord group, next year is when I'm going to be trading cryptos, and I believe I'm going to make a good amount of money. Now, with this put option strategy though, right, you cannot make hundreds of percent, you can't do this and that stuff like that kind of crazy amounts, right? However, what you can do is make consistent 4 to 6% return on investment on your account size every single month on average. So throughout the year, you can safely, with super high probability, make between 50 to 80% ROI on your account. So let's say you're starting with $50,000, 50,000, right? 50,000 pounds, whatever it is, right? Let's say you're starting with pounds. I live in the UK. If you're trading with 50,000 pounds, at the end of the year, expect to make 50 to 80% of that. So what is that? That's anything between 25 to £35,000 as profit. Okay, that's in 1 year. But if you don't cash that money out and you compound it, that soon becomes literally $250,000 in a few years' time. So I just think this is very, very good, and this isn't a guess game. Regardless of the market condition, you make money selling put options. 4 to 6% safely every single month on average, 50 to 80% throughout the year. I think this is fantastic return on investment. You're not going to get that from real estate, which is why I like this over real estate. You're definitely not going to get that through the bank. I mean, the bank maybe at the most pay you 3 or 4% a year, let alone in a month. You can make that in a month with this strategy. And you know, with real estate, you know, at this moment in time, you'd be lucky to yield 5 to 10% a month. You know, 5 to 10% throughout that year. You know, and the real estate, you'd be lucky for it to appreciate by 5 to 10% in a year at this general moment in time. So if I'm comparing something that I can make 50 to 80% return on investment very safely with high probability, which is very liquid, which means I can cash it out anytime I want, in comparison to just 5 to 10% return on investment a year, you know, which one am I going to go for? I was talking about 10 times more, right? I've done the math. With trading put options, I can make 5 to 10 times more every year than I can with real estate, which is why I love this right now. And the other thing I love about it is that with real estate, typically you gotta, you know, buy a place which is a bit below market value, and then you do it up, add value, recycle the money out, and then, you know, rent it out. Typically you need to rely on a lot of people. You need to rely on builders, you need to rely on your solicitor, you need to rely on your mortgage broker, you need to rely on builders, plumbers, you need to rely on your agent that manages those properties, right? There's a lot of people that you have to manage. And at the end of that, you might get like a 10% return on investment throughout the year overall. Whereas with put option selling or with trading, you do not have to manage nobody apart from yourself, right? If you lose money, it's because of yourself, right? There's nobody else you need to rely on when you're trading. It's just yourself. You don't have to manage builders. You don't have to manage other staff. I mean, I used to run restaurants, right? And I'm telling you, the stress and staff management requirement in terms of effort and stress level is huge in a restaurant, right? Especially because typically if waiters and waitresses that work in a restaurant are not that motivated people, they're just there to make a minimum wage, so they're not going to really do that great of a job. So I typically find that to be very, very difficult, very, very stressful, and so much management needed. Now, and then when it comes to real estate, it's easier, right? It's better. Management level is better because people who are involved with real estate typically have more motivation and they're a bit smarter. So that is a bit easier. However, you still have to manage people, but with trading you have nobody to manage. There is nothing you have to manage. You just manage yourself. As long as you know how to trade, you make money out of it, you make money, right? So, and the other thing is, it doesn't take time. With real estate, typically what happens is you buy it, you do it up, all that process takes time, the remortgage, this and that. It doesn't take that much time, if I'm being honest. You know, after once agent takes over and manages your rent, scripts and stuff like that. It doesn't take that much time, but it still takes a hell of a lot more time than trading does. Because with trading, it takes me 1 hour a week, and throughout the month, it's literally 3 or 4 hours a month of work, and I can make safely 4 to 6% return on investment. Right, throughout the year, we're talking about 30 to 40 hours of work in a year to make that kind of return on investment, which, typically if you're in a job, you have to work that in a week. So I love that location freedom as well. You could do this from anywhere in the world. All you need is an internet connection and a laptop, and even a mobile phone, to be honest. So I just love the aspect of trading, to be able to make 50 to 80% of return on investment per year very safely, anywhere in the world, with very little work, and nobody to manage, just yourself. Nobody can let you down apart from you. So I love that aspect about trading. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, don't think that you can just get into it and be that easy, right? It has only become sort of easy for me because I've spent thousands and thousands of hours learning how to trade over the last 4 to 5 years. And I've made lots of mistakes. I've blown accounts. I've made mistakes, right? If you follow my alerts, you can do it very quickly. But if you actually go out there and try it yourself, most people will lose money because you need a lot of determination. You need a lot of screen time, and you need to understand how stuff moves, fundamentals, technical, sentiment. There's a lot to actually evaluate, which I do all that work for you, and I just put up an alert. Don't think it's as simple as just getting in and making money. If you really want to make money for yourself in trading and really understand it, I would say it takes at least 6 months to a year minimum, even if you're very intelligent and spend a lot of time on it. You really need hundreds of hours before you truly understand it. But anyway, just finish off there. This is my Discord group. So these are the options, alerts you can see for yourself. Everyone's a winner. And there's not just, also there's Alabala, or Alex, his real name is. He trades futures, E-mini futures. He trades Forex and CFD. So he's a professional Forex, CFD, and futures trader. So if you're interested in that side of things, follow him. I used to trade Forex and CFDs, but I don't trade it anymore. I personally find it very difficult, and I'm not great at it, so I don't really do it, and I don't really need to because I'm very good at trading stocks, options, and cryptos. Come over to that. And also there's crypto alerts only at the right time. Typically once every 4 years I give these out. Maybe a couple of meme coins, shit coins here and there, but that's different. And then betting alerts, I typically give them like every day. We bet on horses literally every day. Overall, it's been profitable so far for the last month or so. So come over, completely free. And if you wanted to learn how I trade and actually understand it yourself, you can do private lessons with me. It's only £50 for the hour, or if you do blocks of 3 or more, you get discounts, block buying discounts. And to be honest, at that price, it's cheap as chips. And if you invest in sessions with me, you will make money, guaranteed. It isn't like some so-called gurus that charges thousands of pounds for some sessions. And if I'm being honest with you, after you do the sessions with them, you're more likely not to make money, if I'm being honest. Anyway, come over, join the Discord group should you wish, and it's the Freedom Income, and happy trading, happy investing.